Hi there, this is Pete Howard, Director of Concert Posters for Heritage Auctions. And I proudly present the Jimi Hendrix Experience from 1969 in Syracuse, New York. Now, what's big news about this Hendrix poster, it is the only tour blank that was ever good enough for Jimi Hendrix to use in America in his 4 years of touring. And so, to do so, well, it took the sublime talents of one David Byrd. And David Edward Byrd was his full name, recently passed back in February. And Mr. Byrd was responsible for some pretty darn special and memorable concert posters of the era. You've got the original Woodstock Wallkill location poster, Jimi Hendrix Fillmore East poster, famous one, Jefferson Airplane at the Fillmore East, and most closely tied to this, I suppose, is the Rolling Stones Fall 1969 American Tour blank. So, and by tour blank, of course, most of you know this, but what we mean is that all the color portion is printed ahead of time in large quantity and a blank space is left, in this case at the bottom. Usually it's at the top, but here it's at the bottom. And then the promoters, so the national promoter would call the local promoters and say, hey, do you want some window cards for the show? And they might say, sure, print me up a couple dozen, here's my information, and give them the ticket locations, you know, and prices and all that stuff. The date was already known, but the venue and everything. So, you know, that's how things worked, and they weren't made for every show, which is one of the reasons we don't see them very often. So, but above all the information there in black ink, you got David Byrd's artwork there, which is just very, you know, it doesn't have a really 60s feel to it. And you've got, naturally, Jimi Hendrix up top, and then on the left, Mitch Mitchell, the drummer, and of course on the right, Noel Redding, the bass player, pictured. And then right under Experience there, and that's where the blank white started, and that's where it's printed in. Notice it says also Noel Redding. Why would they name the bass player, for heaven's sakes, and not the drummer? Well, that's because Noel Redding actually was really itching to make his mark as a musician. Mitch was happy to just keep pounding the skins, and did with Jimmy in 1970. But Noel had a band called Fat Mattress, and so on certain tours, including this one, Fat Mattress, or Noel, whatever he wanted to call himself at that time, or I should say the typesetter for the poster wanted to call him, was the opening act. So he'd do his set with his band, and then he would do Jimmy's set as the bass player. So that's pretty funny. But it's just kind of neat to see Noel Redding's actual name on there, because a lot of people would see Fat Mattress and say, what the heck is that? But they know that Noel was one of 3 of the Jimi Hendrix Experience. So that's pretty fun. And then you do go from down there, you get the typesetted information, Syracuse War Memorial Auditorium on Sunday, May 4th. No year needs to be given, but it was written in by hand of 1969. And the time was changed from 8 to 7:30 p.m. That's actually quite common. We see time changes all the time on original concert posters, not the psychedelic ones, but on pretty much posters from all over the country of all kinds of different genres. If the time changes, you got to put it on the poster before you post it, or people will show up at the wrong time. And then tickets ranging from $4 to $6, and lots of ticket buying locations are given. So, you know, if I say this is a tour blank that was used for several or even many different cities, you might think, well, that means there's lots of them out there. That's not the way it works with these 60s posters. It's crazy. This is so scarce, it's only the second time in Heritage's history we've had a chance to carry it from any city. And the one we sold before, auctioned off before, was indeed from a different city. And this is, of course, from Syracuse, New York. That's probably because, you know, when it comes to calling the local promoter and saying, how many do you want us to put in, the promoter could easily just say a couple dozen, maybe 3 dozen, 4 dozen, 50 tops. Or I shouldn't say tops, maybe some got 100 made, but those numbers are all so small compared to San Francisco psychedelic posters, which, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 2,500 and up. So that's why, you know, even though they may have initially run 1,000 blanks, if each promoter or whichever promoters wanted them only one in 25 to 50. These things just won't be out there, and they are not out there. Just the second one ever again, as I said, in Heritage's history. So you've got the great musician, Jimi Hendrix Experience. You've got the great poster artist, David Byrd, and it combines for a really sweet and very scarce poster. So I just love this one for sure. So it'll be part of our big 240 lot Concha poster auction taking place all together on Friday, November 7th, okay? No Saturday that weekend, just all on Friday, starting at noon Central Time, meaning, of course, 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. And to read a lot more about this poster and other stuff we have, please just go over to ha.com/7421.